Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Well, it's been a great pleasure for me to meet all these guys and to be up here again as the moderator. Getting to know their work has been truly inspirational. Their styles are so different, but every single one of the commercials is just perfectly crafted. So we've only got 45 minutes, so let's get to it. A couple of questions. I'm going to ask you questions specifically relating to the commercials, and if we've got time afterwards, maybe just open it up to a bit more discussion. So Juan, starting off with you. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you on your first nomination. But based on the level of excellence of all your work that I've been looking at recently, I'm sure you'll be back here repeatedly. Congratulations. Now, many of you might remember that Juan was responsible for that incredible Sony Bravia campaign years back that I was amazed to see had zero effects in it. It was all done in camera. So my first question, could you tell us a little bit how you created such a convincing piece for Ikea, and whether the experiences of the Bravia campaign had any effect on how you approached the project?
Well, I guess, coming from agency, I was kind of writer and art director. I was kind of a little bit lost into my world. So I had the chance to kind of pick directors. I remember having chats with Tom at sometimes, like we never managed to work together. But so it's like you pick like the people that you admire, and I learned a lot from directors. At that time, Balls, it was Nikolai from MJZ, and because it was just me, there was no middleman or anything. So it was like learning. That was kind of my school. And I didn't kind of follow the question fully, but I know that I have to get to Ikea at some point.
Well, let me put it this way. I know that all of those bouncing balls were done for real. But somehow, the way you put this together, it looked absolutely convincing, but I somehow don't believe you just watch those monkeys do their thing.
No, well, I feel like, when you get to an idea that, and again, I go back to the agency, even though I'm not there anymore. It's like, okay, you're the guardian of an idea. And it's like, okay, I kind of picked up an idea, and you have to protect it. And for Balls, when it came, it's like, okay, we could have done it on CG, or we could have chosen another location. But it's about fighting. Okay, it has to be San Francisco because I don't have to explain or give a reason. It just feels right, and it's like a dream that you want. Okay, and it has to be for real. And Nicola had all that energy, and we remember, like we're in San Francisco. And it was very painful and beautiful at the same time, and I think that you always try to put yourself into that place. With Ikea, the treatment was, originally it was like studio, it was all in a hotel, and the vision that the agency bought was, okay, let's do it for real. For real, I mean, it has to feel real, that dream, and the actress we chose, I always said, okay, it has to be a stunt girl. So it wasn't a stunt girl, but she still we threw her out of a plane, out of 100 meters, coming down on a building, on a crane, and I think that people, it's beyond whether they want to buy a TV. I don't care. I'm not trying to sell a TV. I'm trying to sell that emotion, and hopefully the rest, usually it works out. And we shot in South Africa, and again, it was painful and beautiful. Once you get the shot, everyone in the crew is kind of rooting for you to get you the shot. And when you get it, with the monkeys as well, we're like 2 hours to get like the shot of a monkey going like crazy on something that is not, is not what's going on. And all of that was scripted except of the cappuccino phone thing that was a gift from the monkey. But, okay, let's shoot that, and we just put in post the thing. You're just waiting for, and when it happens, like, it's, people were clapping, or when I see the shot of the monkey, putting the hand against the water, there's no acting. It's like, really, the monkey was like, my God, this is, and there's all that relation, that Darwinism of, okay, it's like you feel like humanity, okay, in a kitchen, and we have water, and you start to think, okay, in the kitchen I have water, and all those things that is very subtle, people feel it, you don't have to explain it, but they get into that, and that's what I like about advertising. It's not, the beyond the industry and all of that we know. I think that everyone's trying to kind of express something that goes beyond that, and I don't know.
Well, thank you. I think you got that, because the feeling is really fantastic. Congratulations. Okay, moving on. Miles, I've got to turn my phone to the side to be able to read. Yeah. Well, anyway, your Fletcher commercial for AT&T was something else. The piece was. I mean, it's such an important message, and yet this piece that you produced was just so powerful. I mean, I'm very impressed with that, and your sort of cinematic approach and the emotion that came throughout the whole thing. So clearly this is a true story that was probably happened 6 years or 7 years ago, something that the accident happened. And so what was it like putting this together? And could you tell us how you worked with Fletcher himself? And
Yeah, I think it came kind of as like making a traditional documentary, like a Talking Heads documentary from ESPN Creative Works. But I guess like Werner Herzog did that really well like 3 years ago, and I was like, you can't do that again. But yeah, I wanted to kind of tell that story in a more cinematic way, and I think you have to kind of lure the audience into thinking it's something else and kind of build this hope and these dreams for this story. And I think when I there wasn't really a script, but like when I heard his story of this athlete who was like on the brink of going to the next level, this underdog kind of character, I thought that was like a really cinematic thing. And I think that's like a really traditional kind of underdog sports movie, and to have it like turn in the middle, which is like what happened to his real life, I think was like such a tragic experience, and it's just like a really snap quick thing that really affects everything. And I felt that a lot of the other texting and driving commercials I've seen were always focused on the crash, and I think it was really much more about like what's before and after. And then it kind of, once I kind of learned his story, then it was really about going and meeting him and finding the details and like where he sits at night, like on the porch, and just kind of looks out. I guess we made like a longer 6-minute piece, and then we made the 90-second broadcast cut.
so were those trainers and people working with him, were they real people?
Yeah, basically we everyone in the film is real. Like that was his real coach. I guess in the short version, his parents aren't really in it. But everyone was real except like the body double. But it's a pretty surreal experience when you're sitting with Fletcher and he's on the monitor with you, and there's this body double with all these real people watching what he's doing, and it was, he has such a humility to him. There's some scenes that aren't in this cut, but just watching himself change, or like he was just really open to the camera and really honest, and that was really inspiring. But I've never had that experience where you're with the subject watching the recreation and like he's like, does that look real? He's like, yeah, I look good, that's cool. And I was like, that was really, really stressful. Yeah.
Incredible. Well done. Tom, welcome back for the 5th time.
Thank you.
Very good to see you. I thought all 3 of your entries were fantastic, and so seeing we've only got 45, I just want to sort of maybe talk about the 2 of them. I thought the reveal of the Liam commercial was just fantastic. So, but let's, if you don't mind, getting onto the Amstel commercial or the James Bond commercial. I know that you've had a
Heineken. They're here. You have to be careful.
Whoa, are they here? Yeah, if I could see my notes, I wouldn't have blown that one. Anyway, sorry. So I know this client of yours, you've been working for many years, and I've watched the evolution of the campaign. So what was was it a very, very tight shooting board, storyboard to begin with, or did you sort of develop it together? And things like the odd job reference, with the hat was so fantastic. Was that originally scripted?
The odd job thing was, and I think that was in there when it came to me. The story itself, I can't remember exactly, but I think it was pretty different. But in a great way. The creatives that I worked with on that, I had done one other job with, and they were really, they have a great kind of way of working, which is they kind of like to get a sense of an idea, but then they kind of they like to feed it to me and let me kind of send it back in a new version. And I've done 2 films with them. Commercials, and both of them, we kind of went through that process where we really did actually change it quite considerably, and a lot of it was just based on also logistics, like actually getting to Croatia where we filmed and going like, oh, okay, this is what it's really going to be, and kind of working with what we really could do and had and things like that. And also the client was actually really spectacular in that way, just letting. And also, with the James Bond process, the Heineken client was beholden to having to submit everything to them and get approval, because it's obviously a really precious situation. They don't just let you go and make a film with their star, and so we had to like run everything past them all the time, and they were actually really lovely too. They were like really kind of great, and actually like I had to go and meet with them and show them stuff, and actually like some of the people in the room like kind of helped make it better. Like they were like, you should do this. I was like, that's a great idea. I'm going to do that.
Well, I mean, it's a seamless piece, and so the locations sort of added to the ideas as you developed the whole thing.
Yeah, just the process of kind of getting into it. And
fantastic. Andreas. Hey. Welcome. I know you just flew in as I did, but
Where did you come from?
I came from Italy.
Oh wow. Rome?
No, Puglia actually.
Oh, all right. Came from Malmö, Sweden.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, getting to
BA?
know your
Yeah.
getting to know your work and seeing the history of your amazing music videos that you've done over the years, you were the perfect choice for that Xfinity commercial. And not to mention the GE. I mean, you are a fabulous talent. So, can you tell us a little bit about the way you visualize the little girl's fantasy or her dreams, and whether it came from her, whether it came from you?
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It wasn't really me visualizing it. It was the whole concept was based on her visualization of what Wizard of Oz was for her, and that was a that was a rule that we all stuck to, and that we all followed. So yeah, it was important to keep that pure.
Yeah, absolutely. And all those little details, did you sort of collaborate with her? I mean, you got her script out of it, but the little details of the fabulous, the straw man with the teeth and all that business.
All those things comes from her. It all came through playing with her, basically, and having communication and talking to her, and listening to what she said and follow it, whatever it was, Yeah.
Fantastic. So on the GE spot, the art direction and everything is also magnificent. Is that sort of your style? It's evolved, and the effects of the walking and that stuff. I thought, all in all, that was a great commercial too. Could you tell us a little bit about that one?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what it's about. But I like it. It's about being brilliant and a genius. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was a perfect choice for it.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Juan, we're back to you. Yeah. That spread commercial, I'm not going to get the name right, so I won't say it, but you're probably the most appetite-appealing, hunger-inducing commercial that I've ever seen. I mean, I in my time, I've loved doing in studying all the wonderful tabletop directors and trying to sort of do low-budget versions of that. But somehow you combined many different styles into a very, very beautiful piece with incredible energy. Could you give us a little background on that one?
Yeah, I think that there was kind of like a simple idea about music and food. I think that the treatment was about, okay, is Hendrix in the kitchen, or Jackson Pollock. It was a mix of the two. It kind of became also, and it was about the food, but also going into the pitch was, okay, let's go into the brains, what they imagine when you have, like, I don't know, a lemon, a piece of bread, but okay, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna freestyle something, and and it was very, again, very experimental in a simple kind of way. There was a lot of between the cook girl throwing kind of ingredients, kind of drawings and liquids and ideas with the DOP, who was great, Anthony, and we just had a great time. I don't know, kind of visualizing what flavor, like trying to kind of touch all the kind of taste bud and not being hungry, but just kind of visual flavors and colors and musicality into them. And like when I choose at least a commercial that I'm gonna do, it's like, okay, I don't know much about, or I like food and all that, but it's like, okay, it's like again like a school. I'm gonna kind of learn, and it was a good
Yeah, what I loved about it was the way you combined, the sort of massive high-speed photography and then abstract stuff, and then you had this very, very clear images of the fruit all against black background that sort of came from another world altogether, and the dancing feet. So I just think that somehow our combination had a very, very nice end result. I mean, you just wanted to grab that sandwich.
I was kind of looking at kind of posters of jazz musicians. There's a guy that is dancing there, a choreographer is Storyboard P from, and we're playing music, cooking, and trying to see, like, okay, for a moment he looks like, he's playing jazz, and I think that when you're in the kitchen, you're very kind of, you have like visual ideas of what food tastes like, and it was really trying to tap into that, not fully, because, you're trying still to sell something. But I think for a moment it elevates from, classic kind of food. I usually don't do food commercials. It was like my first time, and it was nice. Okay, I can do that. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. Fantastic.
Okay, Miles, getting back to your incredible piece, could you tell us a little bit about the sequence at the end with the crash, how you designed that, and how particularly the sound design, and I guess that was his voice referring to the I thought the sparseness of the way you treated that was really fantastic. So could you tell us a bit about that?
About the crash or about the voice?
Both.
Okay. Well, the voice wasn't really my idea, let's say. But the crash actually was our only really big failure on the shoot day, which was kind of a bummer. It was like our last scene and our last shot, and we had 20 minutes and the sun was setting, and we, our budget wasn't super big, so we had these Nashville stuntmen with smoking cigarettes and cowboy boots, it's gonna be great, and I was like, okay, let's try it. And then they built this wood ramp, and I was like, you're just gonna flip off the ramp? Like, yeah, it's gonna do it. And I was like, I'm really hoping it's gonna happen. So originally it was this plan of having this you shoot the performance on the back and you whip pan over and you do a seamless edit into the crash cam and it rolls, and I wanted a crash just to feel really real and in one take. But then we tried it, and the car didn't flip, and it just kind of hit the side and then bounce, and I just was like, oh shit. And so then then we're trying to restart the car, and then the sun's going down, and I'm just like, oh god. And then we do it again. And I was like, they can't fail twice. They're like, no, we got it again. We're gonna do it. And then they re-put the squibs on because the squibs didn't go. They try again, and it just didn't work. And they're like, oh god. So yeah, that was a pretty big failure on that job. But we kind of came so far, and the crew was really kind of behind the project because the family's there, the friends are there. That's his best friend in the car, and everyone kind of just got emotionally involved. So the crew just basically went out and just flipped the car twice with their hands. So that's how we got that shot. And so that's it. Yeah.
Well, it holds up on the big screen here, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I looked carefully for that. I didn't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, Tom, Old Spice, another one of your regular clients, and I see you've developed this campaign for years. I mean, they seem to get better and better for me because I reviewed them all, and I mean, it must be absolutely hysterical doing this, or is it a bit sort of bogged down by the effects when you're working with these guys?
The shoot process can be kind of effectsy at times, but no, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. This one was really fun just because when they sent it to me and I saw oh, okay, these guys are going to be fighting. I was like, oh, this is amazing. It's just that this is such a fun, fertile thing to get into. So, and both those guys are really funny, and they really they just love working, and you could tell they just have such a good time shooting, and Terry Crews, that guy is just unbelievable. We'll be in just a big green room, pouring water on him, and he's in his underwear and he's just screaming and smiling, and he's like, I'll do it again, and I'm like, all right, okay. He just loves it. He's got the most amazing attitude. So we had a lot of fun, yeah. Sometimes it just takes a lot of, not particular, well, actually in this one too, it just took a lot of vision, sometimes we were just in a big green room shooting, especially particularly with the Terry Crews stuff, a lot of that, we just shoot it and then kind of make it all afterwards. So it's just him just running around being crazy in a space. So that gets kind of wild, you know, particularly for him actually. But yeah, no, we had a really good time. It was fun.
So, but then, what room do you sit in when you come up with ideas like little babies on the back of the motorbike, which you could only see if you really study it?
That literally came like the day before we shot that. Like we were just looking because we were like, we need 6, you know, ethnicities, and we were like, what's a 6th one? We were like, what about a Peruvian? And then we were like on Google looking at Peruvians, and a lot of Peruvians had little babies. So we were like, let's give them a baby. Yeah. And then there you are. And then you're on set, you know, it's filmmaking, right? You're like, we need a baby. We need the Peruvian outfit with a baby. And then next thing you know, it's there. There's a Peruvian outfit with a baby. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well done. Andreas, so, your Old Spice is an entirely different world, but it's so beautifully done. And I have to say, I've watched that probably more than any of the commercials because of those arms at the end. That is just something else.
Yeah, she came from Fantastic Four. Sue. You like those arms? That's great. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Tell me more about your approach to the casting and I mean all the gags, because they really were fantastic.
Yeah, it's in camera, most of it. The arms are like were puppeteered by some weird hippie in Prague. So we had like long rubber arms that he tried to, you know, make come alive. And then, a lot of them are from Prague, you know, lovely Prague. So a lot of them don't speak English, which was a little bit of a problem, you know. Singing is like asking me lip-syncing to Chinese or something, you know. They have no clue what words they were singing, but turned out okay. And my favorite is probably Francesca. It's the lady under the eyes.
Yes.
It's a mom from the suburbs of Prague.
That's funny. I thought some of the
claustrophobic lady. Unfortunately.
I thought some of the faces were very recognizable actors from the UK, but no.
Some were from UK. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have to blend it up. Not so many dads in Prague.
And just tell me one thing about the woman that gets flipped back into the chair. Was that done for real?
Was that?
When
for real?
He flips back and she's on. She's sitting down and the thing flips over.
Yeah. That was for real. I don't know how you would have done it otherwise. It's a poor guy that was strapped to the chair, hanging upside down, and then we pulled it. He came. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to go back and watch it again.
Yeah. There's a hole in the ground where he was hiding.
Okay, so the last question is just a general one for you all. I haven't seen if anyone's given me the sign yet, but there you are. No? From original script to final edit on any of the commercials you did, are there any moments that really stand out, the most memorable successes or failures that you experienced on these commercials? Let's start off with Andreas.
What was the question again?
The question was, out of those 3 commercials that you presented, what is the most outstanding moment or memory out of all of them? From, some of them started from beautiful, simple scripts and became extremely difficult or complex, or others just memorable moments or interesting anecdotes, whatever you can come up with, because I think our time's just about up.
I think it was when we shot the last thing with Emily, and we wrapped her. I went over and hugged her, and then she touched my face and felt I had beard for the first time. It was a kind of a beautiful little moment there. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Actually, she touched my beard.
Tom, you're next. You got something for us?
I don't know why this is what's coming into my head, but when we shot Liam Neeson we did it in New York, and I got someone was like, okay, Liam's here, you should go over to the trailer and say good morning, and I was like, okay, and I went over to the trailer, and I was expecting all these handlers and agents and everything, and it was just Liam alone in a big trailer clipping his nails, like, oh, good morning, Tom. And that was it. He didn't have anybody with him the whole time or anything like that. He's like, when do you want me, Tom? I'll be right there. And then I was clipping his own nails, literally. That's what comes to mind.
So you didn't have him
blind girl story.
He can see?
Yeah. Miles.
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably gonna sound corny, but it's you hear about the story about this kid in this suburb of Memphis, and you're like, okay, this is an amazing story. Then you got to go there and 2 days basically be his best friend and gain his complete trust. So I think with these kind of projects, when we do them, it's not really this moment. It's he still texts me every day. You know what I mean? He's just he's just a part of your life, and now I have all these relationships with people in really strange parts of the world that still communicate with you because you have these really strong bonds. And when this award came, he's taking a screenshot of the screen and putting it on Facebook and just super excited. So yeah, I think you just have a friend, which is kind of cool.
Very, very cool.
I don't know. I was thinking what to say when I was listening, and I was listening to Andreas, with the chair, and I was kind of feeling reflected on how sometimes we're unable to kind of communicate something that we really have in our heads, and we do gestures and stuff, and people, they say that they understand what you want, and they have no idea. And I was thinking, okay, what is the I don't have anecdotes or anything, but I was thinking of the honey thing, and it's still kind of chasing me that. The honey thing. It's when I think of food, I'm like, okay, honey. It's and it felt for me it's the trumpet and all of that, and people are trying to give you. It's okay. They try a test with throwing honey, and then okay, let's just spin that, and they do it for you, and then we put it in reverse and flip the shot. It's yeah, it's close, and then we had Rutger Hauer, the guy from Blade Runner, to what the hell, and then you have the sound which was really bad, and at the end it's okay, that's kind of close to what I wanted, and you realize that you're kind of carrying all these people, following you and trusting you. And I think that's the beauty of from the agency, from the client, they know that you have a little something that is not, selling stuff. It's giving you that extra thing. And I don't know if that makes anything, but when what I thought of the honey shot, and I don't know, it's okay, that's close to what I feel sometimes.
No, I think that's a fantastic way to end, because in a nutshell, I mean, that really shows your commitment to making something that the average Joe has no idea of how you can get there, and I think you've done an incredible job. But on that honey shot, was that a crystallized thing that you used in the end, or was that actually with that little turning?
It's when you dry the pasta, it's one of those things. It was really freestyle. There wasn't a lot of kind of, and we just put honey on the thing, and it just came like that. And then we just started to spin it, and then of course the shot is kind of reversed, and it's very simple, but there was a lot of patience. We were for 2 hours, and people are okay, I don't know really what the guy wants. There were a lot of that, but after that, it's people are starting to throw ideas, what Tommy was saying, people, what about this, what about that, and that's when it comes to life. It's really knowing. It's not that I don't like storyboards. You have an idea, but it's never really going to be like that. And that's what we do. It's get close to something that you have.
Well, congratulations to you all. Fantastic work, and may the best man win. Thank you, everybody.